The following presentation is a Barrett Sports Media production. Recognizing the unsung heroes of sports media.
I'm stuck in this pit, working for less than slave wages, working on my day off.
This is the Producers Podcast with Brady Farkas.
I'm the executive producer.
Oh, you're the executive producer.
And it starts now.
Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of the Barrett Sports Media Producers Podcast. Today, we're checking in with Cam Rogers of the Bleav Podcast Network, now really just the Bleav Network. You know, Cam was actually employee one at Bleav. It's a company that's making a lot of noise in the podcasting space, but also now expanding their digital and video offerings as well. Cam serves as kind of the executive producer of the entire network. He's got a fancier title than that, but he really is a do-everything talent for Bleav, and we find out about some of his responsibilities and how the network has grown right now. Cam, I don't think in your technical title is the word producer, but I see you as wearing the producer hat for Bleav, in addition to many other hats. And you were actually employee one at Bleav. Talk to me a little bit about what your specific title and role are.
Bleav has been an incredible experience so far this year, over 3 years strong with the company. Employee number one, as you mentioned, it started out as really more so of a social media manager in that regard, as far as promoting the podcast that we had on the network, while also doing a lot of PR related things, such as writing press releases and booking our talent on your show in particular out there in your radio station in Vermont and other radio stations across the country. I think that's how we met too. And really just continuing to build the Bleav brand. Now, as we have grown, and it's amazing to sort of see over the last 3 years, my role technically is community manager as well as on-air host too. And so community manager basically means a few things. Number one, interacting with the hosts, checking in with them on a few things in particular. Number one, we have merchandise now. So I help them out with the merchandise store, creating designs for what they want. They can promote it on social media. Number two, creating original content with these hosts. So I'm talking about flipping your phone around and giving your reactions to that awesome play you just saw, or Baker Mayfield getting traded, those sorts of things. And, you know, I'll text one expert on one thing, another on another, and they send me the video back. We post it out on our Bleav social media. That is really what we want to start building on as our social media presence, that original content aspect. I'm still doing the PR stuff as well. Of course, booking myself as a sports betting analyst, golf analyst too. So, you know, it's a whole lot of everything, as you said, you know, wearing a lot of hats here, but I love it.
The reason why I think of you as a high-level producer is because of what you said at the beginning there and kind of how we met, that you were the liaison between Bleav talent and outward, you know, other podcasts or other radio stations, TV stations that wanted to utilize your talent, but also in that you're managing a lot of different hosts in the way that a traditional producer does. So how hard is it to navigate all the different hosts you have to communicate with, because all of them have different needs. They all have different subject matter. They all have different personalities. How tough is that for you to navigate all of it?
Well, I'll tell you what, if I just got hired now and had to do all of that, it'd be a lot harder than, say, 3 years ago when we started with 20 hosts, something along those lines, because as we got more and more hosts, that allowed me the opportunity to really introduce myself, develop a relationship with these folks like Eric Davis and Ed Smith and Bryant McKinney. And through knowing all of these athletes and these personalities, I know, like to your point, what their needs are, what radio stations or TV networks they actually prefer. Do they like doing as many as possible? Do they only prefer 2 per week? Who is quick with responding? Who requires a follow-up here and there? It really is a touch and go situation. And so I'm thankful that I have so much experience behind me, because otherwise, if I got sort of thrown into the fire throughout this growth here at Bleav, it'd be a lot harder to play catch up. And so, you know, in that regard, to your point, it's about organization and understanding which host should be on which network when talking about what subject matter. So Casey Stern, very well known in the baseball world. He's doing like 20 radio interviews this week. And really, it's as simple as just writing it all out in my notes app on my MacBook Pro, because it's easy to text to all of these hosts and stuff. And also, throughout the NFL season, it's a more regimented sort of situation where I have, the host of their particular show going on the opponent's media, if that makes sense. So, the Cardinals are playing the Raiders. Ed Smith of the Cardinals goes on Las Vegas media. And so I create a spreadsheet for all of that and organize it, send it all out on Monday, hit up who I need to hit up, and then start just emailing back and forth from there. And sometimes, Brady, I'll be honest with you, my eyes hurt to a point where I'm just staring at my computer and typing so much. But in the end, it's just so rewarding to see the amount of exposure and PR that Bleav gets through really a win-win situation, right? Because Ed Smith, in theory, gets PR for Bleav in the Arizona Cardinals, and those radio stations, those networks get a cool guest. Everybody wins. So it's really a cool relationship.
How much of your time right now is spent trying to get your talent on other places versus getting other people to come on your own podcasts?
Well, it's interesting because now I'm doing internal booking here for Bleav. So stay tuned on that because it's going to be an interesting balance here, right? Of course, helping out people within the network and guesting around and bringing on guests and what have you, while also getting our experts out there into the world as far as other podcasts and networks are concerned. So, I think it's going to be a delicate balance here, especially as we get into the NFL season. It's going to be a lot of texting, a lot of emailing, a lot of back and forth. But the reward through all of that, Brady, is community. And that goes back to my role as community manager. We're building a community with these radio stations. I've built a relationship with you. Consider you a friend. I've built relationships with a lot of these hosts on the network, and they've built relationships with other hosts on the network. And in the end, it's one big happy family. I mean, that's what it's all about, right? We want people to have fun on this network. We want to grow our relationships. I love going to Radio Row at Super Bowl because it's almost like Thanksgiving Eve for the media networks, right? Because everybody's catching up. Everybody's been Zooming and emailing all year long, and we see each other at the Super Bowl, and we just know each other. So that's a cool aspect. And so, hope to continue to develop those relationships.
How does Bleav get their stars to be a part of the podcast network? So if you're not familiar, kind of the sports arm of Bleav tends to go with, especially on football, kind of a straight man like, me and you out there and a former athlete. How do you get the former athletes, the Bryant McKinneys, the LeGarrette Blunts of the world? How do they sign on to get involved?
Credit to our amazing talent team. Credit to our amazing founder, Bron Husenstam, who really have put forward a fantastic product from the jump when we started with Ryan Leaf and Tony Pauline and down the line from there and built up that credibility because, when an agent sees Super Bowl champions, Hall of Famers already on the network, they know this isn't just some network. We're something different. We are really something that's truly unique. I don't think anybody's doing it. 32 NFL shows, 32 athletes on each show. Nobody's doing it, right? And so that gives us really a leg up in the recruiting process, if you will. And again, the talent team does such a great job. We have so many members on the talent team now. That just goes to show how hard we are working, how fast we are moving. We're getting more selective now in terms of who's actually on the network, coming on the network as hosts. In the early going, it was, hey, let's bring everybody in. Let's generate this large community. But now we can be more selective because of our standing in the media world where, we can say yes to this person, no to this person. And so, I think it just goes back to the talent team, the recruiting process, and their pitching that Bleav is this wonderful machine of content. And it's not just podcasts. We do YouTube, we do social media. We have Sports Map Radio, that partnership there, Sirius XM, TuneIn, all those good things. So a lot of up and up right now.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about some of those new partnerships that have come out in the last couple of months, Sports Map Radio and Sirius XM. Speak to some of those developments.
Yeah, absolutely. So Sports Map Radio obviously is national radio, and it created this Bleav hour for us and through this partnership where, on weekdays and weekends, we have the best of Bleav, whatever show we want to showcase on that particular day. I've been on a couple of those episodes for major championship previews and recaps and sports betting and all that good stuff. So it's just another arm of distribution for Bleav. The backbone of the company of course, would be the podcast, but we are going for more, and we're in the process of creating more, in terms of distribution and all that good stuff. So stay tuned on the wires for that. And your wonderful company at Barrett has written a lot about the news here at Bleav. So yeah, I think it really is just another ingredient to the massive distribution channels that we're continuing to build. We're not just podcasts. You can't just be podcasts in this world and be super, super profitable. You got to have other things going on, especially in terms of video. So more coming soon in that regard, but it's been great to see so far.
I can personally testify that Bleav has a lot of great guests across all of their sports networks. I've utilized Bleav experts in basketball, baseball, and football, college football. It really is a full service network that, again, can provide a lot to your local radio station. So Cam is the guy that you reach out to if you want any Bleav guests on your shows. And Cam, tell people how to get in touch with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Hit me up, cam@Bleav.com. Follow me on Twitter at Mr. Rogers99. Let's connect. Let's create a dialogue. And I'm happy to help in any way in terms of content creation and all things here at Bleav.
Cam, we appreciate it. Keep up the good work.
Thanks, Brady. Appreciate you.
All right, I want to thank Cam Rogers for joining us here on this edition of the Barrett Sports Media Producers Podcast. Seriously, if you are a radio host out there, a podcast host out there, I encourage you to reach out to Cam because the talent at Bleav is really good, and they can do wonders for your radio show or your podcast. I know that they've done wonders for mine. A little harmless promotion there for Cam and the company. Cam does a lot. Again, he's been there since the beginning. He's helped engineer all the growth at Bleav, and great to hear his story today. We'll see you next time on the Barrett Sports Media Producers Podcast.
You don't want to believe it, but maybe the show is over.
Thank you for listening to the Producers Podcast. To enjoy past and future episodes, check out iTunes, Spotify, Amazon, the iHeart app, and BarrettSportsMedia.com.